Hello. It is Tuesday night, 7 p.m. So as usual, we are gonna hang out and play a Dreamcast game today. We got our buddy John C on the camera, and we got Matt over on the mixer today. And yeah, today's game is going to be Shenmue, the classic from 1999. Let's boot up the old noisemaker here. I'm gonna do a quick reading from the manual, because this game had a whole paradigm thing I was trying to push called FREE, F-R-E-E, full reactive eyes entertainment. Go wherever you want to go, see whatever you want to see, investigate whatever you want to investigate. Here, the passage of time is realistic. A refreshingly cool morning breaks and transforms into a warm, sunny afternoon. The beautiful sunset of early evening melds slowly into a quiet and still night. When it rains, it rains. When it snows, it snows. At times it continues without letting up. Here, life is realistic. Here, life is realistic. There are people who take daily walks in the park, people working hard every day to make a living, shop owners selling their goods, children playing, housewives gossiping. Everyone living in their own everyday, unique lives. Yes, this world is a real world. Meet and interact with numerous people. Grow and learn through a variety of experiences. Compelling and majestic drama that will engulf you exists here. And that is a description of FREE. Full reactive eyes entertainment. And now we have a majestic bird carry us. I remember none of this from the game. This feels very bit misleading.
Shall appear from a far eastern land across the sea.
All right.
A young man who has yet to know his potential.
Sounds like me.
This potential is a power that could either destroy him or realize his will. His courage shall determine his fate. The path he must traverse, fraught with adversity, I await whilst praying. For this destiny predetermined since ancient times. A pitch-black night unfolds with the morning star as its only light. And thus the saga begins.
Okay. So I hope to see a lot of that bird, because it took up like 80% of that trailer. Produced and directed by. This game subscribes to the auteur theory very heavily. Just putting the dude's name right on the front. Alright. New game. Yes, start a new game, obviously. Create the file, yeah. I love the janky font that already comes with the game. This is some load times. Okay. Man. Oh man, it says complete on here even. I don't know if you can see. Or if it still even says it. It might have changed back by now. Now it just says Shenmue again. We need a third camera for this, obviously. Alright. Oh no, your dojo. What happened here? That is extremely disrespectful. Some sweet koi carp.
Ine-san. Ine-san.
Ine-san.
Ryo-san, I'm all right, but Hazuki-sensei...
Hazuki-sensei.
My father.
I think he lets us know. Hazuki-sensei is my father. Forgot how many like crazy Dutch angles and like high and low things they go for in this opening cutscene. The rest of the game is not really as daring as this, cinematically speaking. Although I guess that's on me as the player. Everything is for me to define.
Fuku-san.
This guy's clearly
Father!
requisite face scar.
Stay back, mule. For the last time, where is the mirror?
I've no intention of telling you.
Where's the mirror? That's the MacGuffin for like this whole. Alright. I kind of forgot that. Have either of you guys played this before? Shenmue?
Yeah, I played this game.
Alright.
Father! Why?
Now then,
No matter how often you ask, I'll never tell. No, don't!
hand over the mirror. Or else, your son.
Wait! The mirror, it's buried under the cherry tree.
Under the cherry moon. I feel like I'm one of those people on YouTube who like react to an episode of a TV show, or I'm just like,
Do
oh
you
my
remember
gosh,
Chao Sun
like left and
Ming?
right.
Chao,
The game does eventually
That's the
start.
name of the
I
man you
promise you.
killed in Moon Swan.
it can't be. You!
Get up. I'll allow you to die like a warrior.
Father!
Onizawa, we have it.
It's a pretty sweet mirror.
Never looked like a mirror to me.
They never showed the shiny side, probably for reasons of like stuff they couldn't render. Maybe it's like a compact where you like pop it open and there's this sweet mirror inside, but you just need to like.
Father!
Forgive me for leaving you alone.
What are you saying? Father!
Your friends. Keep friends. Those you love close to you.
No.
Imagine if like
Father.
Mario started this way. They just like throw you in after this scene. It's like, alright, run to the right and jump over things. When Shenmue 2 came out for the Xbox, it came with a bonus DVD of Shenmue the movie, which was all the cutscenes from this, and I'm assuming like a perfect playthrough of somebody's, and it was just this like 90-minute, completely unwatchable
Wait, so
version of it.
you're just supposed to watch it?
Yeah, it was for people who didn't have the Dreamcast original when that came out, which was a big ask.
That's
like
crazy.
little kids being like, well, little kids, teenagers. I remember watching it, but I like promptly fell asleep, even though I love this game. All right, 4
John,
days.
your Your dad died, right?
Yeah, 4 years ago.
Tell us a little bit about him, if you would.
He was interesting. He was very. People always confused him for like my grandpa because he had gray hair like ever since I can remember. So he's like very. I don't know. Like I remember a time we were at Dunkin' Donuts and I'd asked for like 2 donuts, and the lady behind the counter was like, "Oh, ain't Grandpa nice to you?" And he was like, "It's Dad. It's not Grandpa." But it became a fun in joke from then on that he looked way old. But yeah, one of the benefits of that is that he like kind of came of age in like the late 50s, early 60s. So like growing up, I heard a lot of like rock and roll, doo-wop, kind of like Buddy Holly, like Fats Domino era. Weirdly, not much Beatles. We weren't really a Beatles household. I kind of had to find 60s pop on my own, but yeah. Big fan of drag racing as well. He's very, very into cars.
Did he spend his whole life in New Hampshire, or was he from elsewhere?
He was actually from around here. He was, I think, like East Cambridge or Somerville. I don't know where he was born, but I know it was one of the two, and he grew up like living in both. So he's definitely like, he kind of moved up to New Hampshire to like get away from the city, but over the course of like 30, 40 years he was up there, it became kind of a crappier and crappier like suburban sprawl situation in our hometown. So it was just like, I don't know. He'd always say there's more cows than cars when I moved up here, and now it's just like, as annoying as living in the big city, how it used to be down here in the 60s. First thing in the game that lets you control is the numbers for police and fire, weather forecast, number assistance, in case I forget these.
Hey, that's useful info.
I really hope I don't have to, like, memorize these. At least fire is 911 backwards. I'm gonna start the game by calling the police. See what that does. I also need to learn the... Oh, wow. These controls. But yeah,
If your dad just died, wouldn't calling the police be like a reasonable thing to do?
I guess, but I like... Yeah, I never thought of that in this. I mean, it's clear we know who did it. It was the guy with the sweet robe who wants the mirror.
I wonder what's preventing him from going through the police and the courts.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a
Yeah, I never thought to call them.
revenge situation.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's call the 5-0.
By the way,
Once I get my
I have
allowance.
this for you. This is for today.
9,800? Yeah, oh.
I'll leave it on top of the shoe.
10,300 yen, I'll take it.
Do you know where Fukusan is?
Fukahara-san, I believe he's in the dojo.
Really? Thanks.
So my little buddy who got kicked out of the dojo, I have to go next door to the dojo to talk to you. Cool, alright. But first I'm going to call the cops and see if they can help me about the murdered karate father. Once I go up and down these stairs a whole bunch.
Speaking of karate father, John, what did your dad do for work?
He, like I said, he loved cars. He was actually an auto mechanic for... How do I dial this? Oh god, it's a rotary phone. I literally have to go number by number. I'm sorry. Yeah, he worked on cars for, I think, ever since he was, like, an adolescent. Like, he just loved that, and worked for Ford for most of his life. He seemed to like them.
No, I'll avenge
Like
my
a
father's
Ford
murder on my
dealership.
own.
He just... Sorry. I just have to figure out my father's murder on my own. That's very funny. No, you're fine. What was that? Sorry, though?
Like at a Ford dealership?
He for a long time, yeah, in like the like a service station kind of a thing. So it was like a dealership out front. They never had the like take your son to work day kind of thing, for some reason. I mean, like, I don't know. I probably would have been bored because we never really clicked in that way. I was very much the indoor kid who loved playing, doing exactly this as a child and an adult. But yeah, I don't know. He had like a Monte Carlo from the 70s out in the garage that was like kind of a someday rainy day project. It never quite got fixed, but I feel like for a while there it was like really close. There was like 1 or 2 repairs that had to be done. Oh, there we go. That's how I run. And then I stopped short to walk up the stairs very slowly.
Ryo-san, is everything okay? Don't worry, I'm fine. I want to ask you about that man.
Oh, that man.
I love that
The
they give
man
me the
called
cop's
Landi.
number and I can't call
What did
them.
he talk with my father about?
And they want me to
Landi
talk to this guy.
demanded the mirror, and then they threw me out of the dojo.
The black suits? Catch the names?
I don't know. They came out of nowhere.
I see. Thanks, Fukusan. If you remember anything at all, be sure to tell me.
Ryo-san, why? What you gonna do?
I mean, this game was really impressive at the time, but it's one of the least cinematic
Ryo-san,
things
where are you
in
going?
2018.
You're
I
not
was
going
gonna say,
after
I'm
them.
extremely impressed
Please
by,
don't.
What is this, 2000?
Look what they did.
1990, no, 2000, I think, came out over here.
Yeah, I think
Killed
the,
my
like, the
father
character animation
right in
is
front of me.
anything I was conscious
I
of.
will
was-
have my
feel like this
revenge.
beats PlayStation by a
I
long
need to
shot.
do
Yeah.
this for my father.
I like the little bandage on the face as if to imply, am I like my father's killer? Do I have... I don't know. Or do I just like Nelly a lot? Do I enjoy the album Country Grammar? I'm gonna go back and talk to... Actually, I'm gonna go back out to the town now that I have an allowance. Yamanose. December 3rd, 1986. Year I was born. I was a few months old when all this went down in Yamanose, other side of the world. Oh, that's a cat. I think I have to, like, first person look at it. There. Yeah, nope. Come on, focus on the cat. How do I get... talk to the cat? Okay. The cat is realistically shy. Well done, game programmers. Yeah, running around my town.
Hey,
Hiya! Are you looking for something?
nothing
Yeah.
really.
What do you mean, not really? That's the whole game, is I'm looking
Hi.
for something.
Hi, mister! Wanna play with me?
Some other time, okay?
So, I don't want to end up on a list. Good lord. The first people you talk to in the game outside your house are two children who are completely useless. And knock on doors.
Perhaps they're out?
They're out, but I'm gonna go walk in their yard? Can I fit in their yard? No, maybe not. The game allows you a weird amount of freedom in some ways.
It's the free system.
It's the, yeah, full reactive eyes. I'm gonna knock on every door.
No one's home?
I think you can look at their nameplates too. Ah, Azumaya lives here. I think they want people to treat this game like Myst or something, where you have to take notes. Uh-oh.
Hmm?
The Dreamcast really does let you know when something's about to happen just by, like, spinning up
Hey, yeah.
so egregiously.
Hi, Megumi.
Uh,
You got a kitten in there?
you promise not to tell my mommy?
Sure.
Okay, then I'll show you.
Is this your kitten?
But this kitty, see? She's all alone.
All alone?
Yep. See, the other day, when it rained, a car ran over her mommy. My big sister saw it. She said it was a big black car.
A black car?
Yeah, and she said it was really scary. And then me and Sis, we buried the mommy cat. And so now, I can be the kitty's mommy. But Mommy says we can't keep the kitten at home.
So you going to keep her here?
Yeah, everybody's helping out too. Like Kota, Yasuo, and Kaio.
I see.
I hope I have to remember these names of random children that this other child is telling me right
Kitty
now.
don't look so good. Think she's hungry?
Wait a second.
Okay.
I'm gonna go steal from this sacrifice for the dead. Dried fish, dried tofu, dried fish. I assume the cat would want.
It's a good puzzle.
Yeah.
Do this. So it's
This is
easy
the
to
one
eat.
cat in Yamanose that really loves fried tofu, though.
Wow, she's eating.
She's so tiny, but already an orphan.
It's so sad. Yamagi-san almost got ran over too.
Yamagashi-san?
Yeah, the car was going so fast, he got shocked and fell. And hurt his backside, so now he stays home all day. When I go to the candy shop, I always stop by to visit him.
Yeah, it's close by there.
A lot
Megumi,
of the
you need to be
pauses in the
careful
voice
around cars
acting
too.
just make it sound like when an adult is really fed up with dealing with a child. It's like, yeah, great.
I've got to go
I'll go
now.
check into that thing. I really love that you can spell the word asparagus.
Think of a name for the kitty.
Oh, well, when I think of a good one, I'll let you know.
You promise? Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
And this game really comes out swinging in like two very different ways. It's like avenge your father, but also nurse this cat back to health and talk to children.
John, what do you feel like you inherited from your dad?
I would say I definitely look a lot like him. Like at the memorial service, we found this picture of him when he was like 12, and we found a picture of me from middle school and put them side by side, and it was just uncanny, like unnerving almost. Other than that, I would say a lot of his stubbornness. Like he's kind of somebody who's just like, I don't know, needlessly kind of irrationally stubborn. I like to think that I kind of tone that back a little bit, but it's one of those things where it's like a weird kind of nostalgia where like I recognize something frustrating about myself, but I'm also like, oh, my dad was like this. Which is, I mean, there could be worse. Like I'm not like, I don't know, like punching the wall till my hand bleeds or something. It's not like that's what I inherited, thankfully. Not that he did that either, but I'm glad that that's, you know,
Sumiya-san,
Hi,
a smallish thing.
on the
I'd
day of the incident,
prompt every
did you see
word.
some men in black suits?
In black suits? No, I didn't. But I did see a cat, though.
You mean a black cat?
Yes, it was run over by a car. A kitten was crying nearby. I also saw little Megumi crying with it.
I see.
Yeah, I know about the... Okay, I have to keep
Was
talking to
there
you.
anything else unusual about that day?
Now that you mention it, Yamagishi-san took a terrible spill at the corner by the park. He was trying to dodge a speeding car. Looked as if he hurt his back. I think it was the same car that hit the cat. It must have been going really fast.
So, that's what happened.
These conversations are so true to life. We're gonna go up this itty bitty alley. Yes! Staircase. I don't know if I ever knew this was here. Let's see if this guy's home.
Perhaps they're out? I don't think anybody's in. Perhaps they're out?
The time
No one's
allegedly
home?
passes in like semi-real time in this, so I have to wonder if you hang out near someone's like steps for like a full 8-hour day if they eventually show up and hassle you. Or yell at you, I guess, rather.
Excuse me?
Terribly sorry, but I just can't now. If you want to talk, ask someone else.
I really wish I could just say that to people.
Excuse me?
If you could
What?
change what you wish to see.
Did you see any men wearing black suits around here? On that day it snowed.
No, I didn't see them. I wasn't here the day it snowed.
I see.
Cool. Alright. You guys are super useful. I love it. Did I talk to you? I don't think I did.
Mishima-san,
Oh, hello, Ryo.
It's weird having there be people that I know, but I don't know it. Like, I, the player, don't know I know them until I talk to them.
That day of the incident, did you see some men dressed in black suits?
Black suits? No. I didn't see them.
Well, did you happen to notice anything unusual?
Oh, nothing worth mentioning.
I'm looking for anything at all. Is there anything you remember?
I'm sorry, Ryo. The weather was awful, so I stayed inside all day. Did you ask Sumiya-san? She knows about everything that occurs in this neighborhood.
Does she know why there's quaaludes in the water supply and everyone talks incredibly slowly?
Oh, hello, Ryo.
Hi.
Kondo-san, the day of the incident, did you see any men in black suits?
The day of the incident? You mean the day of
I was
thunder,
kidding,
right?
but they really...
I didn't see them.
Okay.
I see. Did anything unusual happen around here that day?
Not that I'm aware of. But you know, Sumiya-san knows about everything that goes on around here.
Clearly, I gotta
It'd be
find
good if you
Sumiya-san.
tried asking Sumiya-san.
I see.
I was a foot away when my friend suggested this. I don't know why you didn't listen to her. Good lord. Oh, I see a vending machine. Oh. I see a cutscene now.
Excuse me.
Yes?
What's this nameplate say?
What?
It says Tajima.
Yeah. Checks out.
Does it? I'm trying to find the Yamamoto's house, but see, my eyesight is bad, so...
Don't worry. I'll look for it. Wait for me in that park up ahead.
You're so kind. Thank you so much.
I don't think I'm ever gonna find out who killed my dad if every random pedestrian is like, oh, hey, I have an injured cat. What can you do about it? Oh, I don't read well.
Side quest city.
Seriously. Alright, now I gotta find the Yamamoto house.
What sort of music was your dad into?
He was, very rock doo-wop. A lot of, like, he was a weirdly big fan of, like, Fleetwood
Perhaps they're
Mac.
out?
Like, the really kind of, like, post-Lindsey Buckingham, Stevie Nicks era. Which kind of surprised me. Like, I didn't think he'd be so into, like, smooth, kind of produced pop like that. And also the Eagles, for that matter. Like, a weird amount of the Eagles. That was the one thing I didn't really get on board with his
Maybe
taste.
later, okay?
So did you guys do music together? Was it a thing you experienced?
He never played an instrument or anything like that, but he definitely, like,
Hey.
my first experience listening to, like, actual vinyl records were, like, his old ones. So he had,
Sorry.
like,
Maybe
a
later.
Fleetwood Mac one, a Marty Robbins one. That's kind of another thing, too. Both my parents were very into, like, older country, kind of storytelling, Johnny Cash style songs. But as far as stuff we did together, a lot of it, like, it was one of those kind of classic cold-ish father-son relationships of, like, all right, we'll watch TV, or, like, well, you know, we'd occasionally throw the ball around, but it kind of felt like we were filling, like, a quota of, like, masculinity. I think we liked Frisbee a lot, though. Frisbee was, like, one of the few things that felt a lot less forced than, like, catcher's mitt style baseball. Oh,
A winner?
I got a winning can. Excellent. Time for a refreshing fruit cola. Rest of the can.
I feel like some of this animation is actually quite good.
It's
You know,
so
it's like squinting one of his eyes as he drinks the cold soda.
it's so
it
funny to
speaks
watch
to
it
me.
now because it's like, I don't know. Like at the time, obviously, it was mind blowing the fact that any game had this much detail. Granted, really asinine detail, but oh, the Yamamotos are right across from where I am. Thank you, map. Holy shit, this is extremely useful. It just docks the entire neighborhood. That's fun. All right, so Yamamotos. Come on, Yamamoto. Where's your nameplate, Yamamoto? I recognize that kanji. Yamamoto. Got it.
That's it.
Let's go back to the old lady whose name I didn't even know, who I felt the need to take time out of my day and help. maybe I've grown really jaded in being so crabby about having to do all this kind of good Samaritan stuff for people in this game. Alright, is this not the park where the old lady's waiting? I also like when you get stuck on a person and you just kind of walk into them left and right. Oh, this is the park. Hey lady. I found your house.
Ma'am, I found it.
Did you? Thank you so very much.
And now in real time we walk across.
This is it.
Thank you for taking the time to help me, young man.
I have to go now.
There are so few helpful young people these days.
See, at least in a normal RPG, when you do a side quest, it's like, here's a reward, or like, here's a key item. This is just like testing how much of an altruist the game player is. Just innately. Yeah. It's time to go to a store. Sorry, I get very excited by this. The Abe store. Alright.
Excuse me.
What is it, baby boy Dio?
Baby boy Ryo.
The day of that incident, did you see any men dressed in black suits?
Is this the first time you meet your girlfriend?
I don't have the time to fool with looking at men.
Man, if
I
this
see.
game were a little more open-ended. A little more open-minded.
Did
John, how
anything
is
unusual happen that
spoilers
day?
from chat?
You
Spoilers
again.
from chat about this game?
Yeah.
I mean,
Every
I've
day
finished
it's
this
the
game, but
same
for the sake of
old
people
routine.
watching who may not
I
have,
see.
and also our beloved
Here's your
cameraman who has
hand,
never
baby
experienced
boy
this game
Dio.
before right now,
Yes.
probably hold off on that. But I appreciate the question. Unless someone's making a joke about me, like, Frenching the aged shop employee. In which case, whatever. You don't know me. Caramel. I can buy it. It's weird the amount of things you can look at but not buy. Also, I don't know who this lady is because she was on my winning can as well.
So, are you gonna buy this, little Dio?
I'll take this one.
Alright. Caramel. Excellent.
Okay, little Dio, try your luck.
So clearly she's known me for a long time and enjoys being really condescending. Alright.
Oh, too bad.
Oh, well, you should have come yesterday.
Yes, I was bereaved. I don't know if this tiny town has heard, but my
Excuse
dear
me?
father died 4 days ago.
You're no longer a child. Don't just stand around doing nothing. It's about time you grew up, baby boy Dio.
Ma'am, please don't call me baby boy Dio.
Yeah, you stand up for yourself.
You certainly know how to run your mouth off anyway.
So I don't turn in the winning can here, is what I'm finding out. I don't know where I do, but alright, I'm leaving because this lady is largely useless. Alright, so is there anything else I had to do just yet? Because the cat, I already gave the cat some fish. Help that lady to the park. I'm just gonna keep going through town, I think. If I can help myself.
What about movies, John? Did you watch movies or TV with your dad?
Yeah, actually, we'd always, like, once a week, the video store in my town would have, like, a 2 for $1, kind of like, not the new stuff, like, new releases were still, like, $1 or $2, but all the old stuff was irrationally cheap, so we didn't watch a lot of stuff together. Weird, like, I mean, he'd be the one that would take me to the movies, like, when we actually went out to theaters. But even then, like, I feel like after a while it stopped being much of a thing. He was very particular about what he liked, though. He was very, like, he's one of those people that if he liked, like, the climactic scene of a film, he would pop in the tape and, like, fast forward to that scene. Like, the Al Pacino movie, Scent of a Woman. Oh, I have to go to Magoshi-san's house. Yeah, he'd skip to the end of that where he does, like, his really impassioned speech about how this whole courtroom's out of order and all that. And, I feel like there were a couple others. He used to talk about how, he thought he could make a whole bunch of money someday by doing, like, a compilation tape of all the best scenes from all the best movies. So I feel like the age of YouTube and like supercuts would have
there are.
really. Not that he would have made any money off it necessarily, aside from getting like content flags, but yeah, it was funny how often he'd like think in terms of like not like harebrained get rich quick schemes, but like he would definitely read like Tony Robbins style self-help, like personal power, like think and grow rich type books. And I remember him and my uncle Don would drive around a lot and just look at houses because they were like kind of interested in like flipping them or like buying them and kind of not necessarily fixing them up, but I don't know. I'm not really sure what his like point of view or idea for that was, but it was still a nice reason for him to like hang out with his brother and just go around and look at houses, I suppose.
Did he ever dabble in entrepreneurship in any way?
He did, actually. Ironically, just before I was born, he owned a video store with his other brother, Ralph, which is really weird because I was the son of his that was like haunting video stores weekly, but he was sort of like, I think it was more the fact that video had just become a thing, so he was sort of like strike while the iron is hot and try to make a few bucks on video rentals as opposed to like, oh, I just really love film. So,
How'd it work out?
I think they were open for like a few years, but other than that, like, I don't know. I remember after a while, I think he sold out his share to his brother, and then after a while longer, it stopped being a thing. But he had a few interesting stories from back then. I guess one time, some guy came in, like, half in the bag, like, part of a bachelor party, and was like, hey, where do you keep the suck and fuck films? And he was like, they're adult films, and they're behind there. So he rented a bunch of those, this crass man, and I guess he returned them. No, he came back the next day, and he did not have them. Like, he's just like, I lost them, but I got this. And he puts, like, a chainsaw down. And my dad's like, all right, I guess I'll take your chainsaw instead of my, like, 3 or 4 porno movies he rented and lost. So that was probably my favorite story from that.
How'd the chainsaw work out?
Pretty well. I think he kept it in the house for quite a while. I feel like there's a guy here I can learn like a sweet Tai Chi move from.
Mayumi.
Hey, Rio. What's up?
Hey.
I hear you've been having a rough time. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask.
Thanks.
This is the one person to acknowledge my recently dead dad in this town of people who know me by a first name basis.
Yo.
Everybody else is like,
Did you see
"Aw,
some men
little
dressed in
boy,
black suits on the day of that
help
incident?
me with my
They were
bad
wearing
back."
sunglasses too. On the day when it snowed, do you remember?
I will say
No,
the
I
people in
don't.
my town were a lot more
I see.
tactful after he went.
I'm sorry.
Mostly I'm not friends
No,
with like any of my
it's okay.
neighbors, but
About
yeah,
those
nobody in my
men
life was
black
like, do
suits?
favors for me.
I got home late that day, so I couldn't see because it was already dark by the time I got home.
I see.
I see.
Was your dad ever into video games?
He was a little bit. We had like the standard Atari and NES in our household, so like I remember from the Atari, he really liked the extremely shitty Pac-Man port that came out for it, and Chopper Command was another big one that he was a fan of. I remember he'd tell me tales of him and my older sister playing a lot of Chopper Command and Pac-Man and like just eating dill pickle spears out of the thing and getting the joysticks all sticky. Which is a weird thing to like remember because I wasn't there. This is like a few years before I was even a thing.
How
But
do
yeah,
you feel about like this generation of games, late 90s, early 2000s?
I remember
Perhaps
when
they're
the
out.
first demos for Mario 64 came out at Kmart. Like I knew he would be like kind of impressed by that, so I was like, "Hey, come over here and look at this," and he was like, "Oh my god!" Like it was one of the few times I think I ever like wowed him with a new thing that was coming out. He was weirdly always interested in tech, as much as I'd have to kind of like over-explain a lot of little aspects of it. I don't know. It was definitely, he would always be like the go-to person of my kind of immediate family that I would be like, hey, I heard a cool new thing's happening. So it was like, I don't know, when like Bitcoin became a thing, I was a little sad that I couldn't be like, hey, check out this weird new concept that I barely know how to put into words, so let me try and explain it to my 60-something father. I honestly don't know where I'm supposed to go. Let me check the plaque again with all the names and see if anything looks familiar. Mitsui, Mishima, Nishida, Kondo, Iwata, Sumiya. I think Sumi is who I'm supposed to talk to. So I gotta go left, right. So almost all the way back to my house. Got it. Alright. Excellent. This game is clunky with the running, because you can run into a wall and just kind of stay there. I think I just went in a circle. Nope, I didn't. I wonder if I can talk to that guy on the moped. Okay.
Excuse me.
Oh, it's this
I
guy.
just can't now. Ask me
I
later,
just-
will you?
I just can't. I have acid reflux. Hey, moped. Hey. You got somewhere to be? Come on, buddy. Where you going?
Did you two have other shared interests?
Other shared interests. It's really hard to say. Like, we kind of like, we weren't like oil and water or anything like that. We weren't like super, super different, but we definitely like, he was much more the like, man's man. I love cars and generally, you know, fitness kind of a dude. And I was much more like, bah, we gotta stay inside on a nice day and play Mario World. So, not that he ever like gave me shit about it, which was, I appreciated obviously a lot. I feel like that would have been, you know, rough. But yeah, I don't know. He was always, we didn't have a lot of shared interests, but he was definitely always interested to hear about stuff I was doing. Which was definitely very nice. I feel like a lot of people I know didn't necessarily have that. And it might have been a thing where he's just really good at feigning interest, which is equally good.
I think that also counts for a lot.
Yeah, if you can reasonably fake it. Where the hell? This game is not intuitive. I have to go look at that map again. Apologize to anyone watching this. I don't, though, because you tuned into the Shenmue channel, and that's kind of on you. I am going to buy something out of this vending machine, though, because I forgot you can do that. I love these too. Buy.
I should buy one.
I should buy one. What do we got? That's Sonic and Virtua Fighter. Games that are not out yet in 1986. So this is
Hey,
like...
what's this?
What is... Who the hell is this duck? Start. Help. Capsule 12. I want to know who the duck is. Alright.
Hey chat, get at us if you know who that duck is.
Yeah. Oh, I can zoom in.
I love the finger view.
Yeah, it really... It's like realistic to a fault.
I don't know, I'm kind of impressed by the overall approach of it. It's almost like trying to be the thing after a point and click.
I should try again.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, buy more. What happens if I blow my whole first allowance on these?
Rocal says it's one of Sonic's shitty friends.
Perfect.
I trust him on this subject.
Fair. Oh, who's this guy?
Hey, what's this?
Another person who looks a lot like one of Sonic's shitty friends. It does tell me once I, like, stop looking at it. We've got Bean and Bark. I'm gonna stop buying from the Sonic machine.
I should try again.
No, I shouldn't try again. Quit.
Nah, not today.
However...
Yeah, chat identifies him as Bean.
Alright, Abe store, 9 to 19. Alright, cool. Signs work. That's good to know. Down. Yeah, Virtua Fighter. Let's get some Jackie
Toy
or
capsules.
pie.
100 yen each, huh?
Yeah, 100 yen each.
I should buy one.
It's a steal.
Hey, what's this?
He's so excited to buy them, but he's like, I'm gonna buy something from this franchise I've never heard of that will come out 10 years after this story. Wolf 2. Sweet. That works. I like that they
Maybe I
also
should get
included the
another.
little cardboard box next to the machine with all
Nah,
the
not
discarded
today.
capsules. Like, I'm gonna look at that real quick in case anybody... No, don't look at this sign. I hate the sign. No? What is this? You're gonna translate this for me? Okay. Can I buy something from it?
I love these.
No, I don't want one of these. Don't buy.
Nah, not today.
Not today. Leave town this way.
I should go to Yamagashi-san's house.
Yamagashi-san. I didn't know if that was the name they were saying before. Alright.
John, do you feel as though your father had regrets?
I think quite a few. He definitely he would be kind of be the person who would like drive me back and forth to like karate classes and stuff when I was a kid. So I'd kind of hear a lot of like de facto therapy stuff that probably should have been spent on like a couch somewhere. But like he would always he'd be very forthcoming with the sort of like, oh, I wish I did this or I wish I did that, and like all the stuff about like real estate and things like that. Like he just never. He'd always kind of talk as though he had like no time, even though like this was long before he found out he was like terminally ill. It was just a matter of like, oh, I'm just old. I can't do it. I'm old. And I'm like, you're very able-bodied and you're fine. Like there's no reason you can't go do any of the stuff you're talking about right now. Like he had an idea once for crossword puzzles for auto mechanics, and I was like, you're the person who's ready. You could do that. You should do that. All it would take is a notebook. But even that, even something that small, he's just sort of like, nah, it's... Maybe if I was like 20 years younger. I'm like, what do you mean? Get out of here with that. I think this is the house I want.
I shouldn't bother them.
You shouldn't bother them. I thought that's who we're supposed to talk to.
Yamagashi-san.
Oh, it's you, Ryo.
You, Ryo.
How is your back?
Yes, it's much better. But how did you know?
I heard from someone in the neighborhood that you almost got ran over by a car.
Well, it must have been Megumi or Sumiya-san who told you. That driver was insane.
That driver was insane.
Could you tell me about what happened with that car?
Sure. This black car came flying around the corner over by Sakuragaoka Park and went towards
I love when English
A
voice
black
actors
car.
lean in on
Did
the
you see
correct
the license
pronunciations of
plate number?
Japanese names.
Maybe if there hadn't been any snow.
It's like Clint Eastwood guy.
Yeah,
well, you should really try going to Sakuragaoka Park.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear you're okay.
Alright, oh, something's in my notebook. I should probably look at that. Oh, it's a separate button. Alright. Notebook. Handy dandy notebook. I need to visit Yamaguchi-san. The black car went towards Dobuita. Maybe people who work there saw it. Word! Where's Dobuita? I think it's one of the ways I tried going before, but was not allowed to go. Yeah, as far as regrets, I kind of wish, like... I feel like I never got the, like, big, heavy final talk with him toward the end, because, like... I didn't, you never know when that thing's gonna happen, kind of, but there was this sort of, like, added insult to injury where he had, like, a stroke, like, a few days before he passed, and it was, like, a specific one that, like, he couldn't talk anymore, and he could sort of, like, point at stuff, like, they did the sort of Breaking Bad thing where there was, like, an alphabet laid out, and you could, like, point out his name real quick, and certain things, the memory was there, but, like, other stuff, like, it was very difficult getting him to, like, spell out a word or point out, like, what he was trying to say. So it felt like this weird one-sided thing the last few days talking to him, where it just felt like I'm just talking at you. Granted, I mean, like, as best he could with gestures, he was sort of like, yeah, keep talking. Go ahead. It's fine. This is what we should do right now, because this is the one direction it can go. But it was definitely, like, there was never time for the, like, the weird, like, do you have any regrets? Or, like, do you have, And even, like, one of the bigger things was not, like... I think every dude, or every American dude, I think probably has the thing where it's like, I should really tell my dad I love him, and I'm just, it never comes up because it's weird, because we have that kind of like, what do you think about the new episode or whatever, and you just kind of never bring it up. So I always felt like I kind of just, like, crammed that in during that final period where it, like, I don't know, it just felt very, not forced, because I obviously meant it, but it was definitely like a weird little, like, I kind of wish that it was something that could have been a two-way conversation as opposed to just like a, hey, by the way, I know this is like the last time I get to like say anything. And it's weird too, because like one of the things I remember too is the last time we did have like a two-way like pre-stroke conversation, I was actually away in New York, and I'd just seen a movie, I guess like Blue is the Warmest Color or some other kind of like art housey thing of the day, and we had like one of those very brief father-son conversations like, well, you know, what are you up to? Just saw a thing. All right. If I knew this was the last time I'd be talking to you, you know, I'd be saying a lot more heavy kind of shit, but I probably said some shit like, oh, I gotta go meet my girlfriend or get dinner at the Olive Garden or some nonsense. Because I do remember going to the Olive Garden after that movie. So, it's weird. It's weird the things you remember in a time of immediate, you know...
Well, you never know.
Yeah. Like, I don't beat myself up for any of it. Like, it's... you know, it's not a thing you can know in the moment. And once... Like, a big thing after the stroke when he couldn't talk anymore was just sort of, like, acknowledging, like, this sucks so bad. Because he was always somebody who was just, like, vocally, like, here's what's on my mind all the time. And, like, he was always very specific about, like, if I'm ever, like, completely... He was like, I'm surprised he didn't have, like, a do not resuscitate tattoo or something, because he felt that if he was ever on life support, he'd be like, just pull the plug, I don't want to live that way. So I could already tell that he was just, like, crazy frustrated not being able to talk or do anything but, like, mild gestures. I'm grabbing the soda real quick. But yeah, one of the weird things I do remember is we were asking if he wanted to have anything you want to say, and we had the little, like, alphabet thing for him. And he punched out some letters on it, and we tried to follow along, and what it spelled was ILOWO, ILOWO, and we were like, I love you?
Yeah, a winning can.
I ended up Googling it out of morbid curiosity. There's a town in Poland called with that exact spelling, so I have to wonder, like, secret, you know, secret double life? Maybe my dad loves me, I don't know, we'll see. But no, it was definitely just a weird, bizarre, frustrating, like... it was funny, the last time I think I saw him smile, like, one of the first times I came into the ICU and he was clearly all, like, oxygen tubed up and shit. It was like, you look like $1 million, you feel great, right? And he was like, like, he still had this sort of, like, morbid sense of, like, yeah, well, you know, life's shit, what are you gonna do? Kind of a thing, so... It was, yeah, it's just very weird. Another weird thing is toward the very end they were like, oh, we're gonna move him to another hospital room just to see, like, what we can accommodate for up there as opposed to here. And it was a nicer room, but that was, like, once they moved him up there, like, an hour or two later he went. But it was room 311, as if I didn't dislike that band enough. I now always see that number, and I'm like, oh, yeah, thanks. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna play Space Harrier.
And he was sick before he had a stroke, right?
He was. He'd had, like... It was about a year that we knew he had, like, something on his lung. And went through, like, chemo and all that stuff. And for a while it was like, oh, it's probably headed for remission. And then it was actually, like, my birthday that year that I found out, like, oh, no, it's gonna get worse. So basically, it was just very rough, like... I just gotten back from a road trip, actually, with Matt and my friend Brian. And it was just like it was already a very surreal day, because it was like getting used to being back in New England and being like, oh, okay, I just have to, like, I live here and not in a car, sleeping on back seats and all that. So nothing feels real already. And it was my birthday, so I was like, oh, I have people going out for dinner and seeing a movie. It's a special day. And then all of a sudden I have this really grim conversation with my dad where he's like, oh, you know, it kind of hurts if I eat too much, so I've been not eating as much to try and counteract that. And I'm like, that broke me. Like, I could not... I don't know, something about that, especially because, like, that was the thing we would do, is always just, like, go out to restaurants together. Not necessarily good ones, just, like, Pizza Hut and shit, but, like, the idea of, like, that one very easy human comfort being a thing you can't even follow through to the point where you feel satiated. I don't know. That was, like, the first thing where I was like, oh, this is extremely real, and what am I gonna do? But yeah, after that, it was like, from the year before, like, I'd stayed optimistic before that, because it was like a good 8 months of like, oh, there's, you know, chemo and various other stuff, and after that point, he had like a little, like a port, they called it, put in, like, somewhere on his chest where they'd, like, put in, it was kind of like a Soylent-ish, all-in-one nutritional thing called Jevity. I don't know why I remember the name of it, but these are the things you remember. And we had, like, cases of it. And it was like, I think I have a picture on my old phone somewhere after he passed where we're like, what are we gonna do with a case of this weird fucking sludge that, you know, does no longer really serve a purpose, and you can't quite resell it, I don't think. I hope we ended up donating it or something like that. I'm sure it was useful to somebody else in similarly dire straits. But yeah, it was definitely just like it was good to have that year, like when he first found out about something going on with his lungs and like the actual shit getting really heavy, because it was just like, oh, I can at least make the effort, go up on weekends, and like I feel like I got in a good amount of time, so that was definitely good. Like just about every other weekend, it was just like, oh, up to New Hampshire, and even if we don't really say or do much, just hang out in the living room and watch TV and crack wise at whatever's on the commercials, or I don't know, just kind of keep them company. At the same time, like, if you think too much about this stuff, you go crazy, I figure. Like, you don't know, like, what's the correct thing to do. Like, there's no correct when things are going well, let alone when someone's, terminally ill. So I think I got a lot better over the course of that year of just not beating the shit out of myself for, like, whatever I did or did not do at any given day. But yeah. I do remember thinking it was very clever of me after he first found out I actually got him season 1 of Breaking Bad in the event that he'd want to like start learning to make meth or something. Kind of a gallows humor. But he was just sort of like, that show was kind of weird. And I was like, alright. I tried. Tried my lemons into lemonade with cancer specificity. Game over. Good thing I put in more quarters. F. U K and welcome to the Fantasy Zone. Oh, for video games he liked too, we had a Top Gun for the NES, which was just the most. He loved the movie and he loved F-14s, like Tomcat specifically. But that game was such a piece of shit. And every so often, one of us would put it in and try to play it, and it was fun up until that part where you have to try and land the plane at the end of like every level. I feel like none of us had a thing in our house where we thought you could really finish a video game. It was kind of that arcade mindset of like, oh, it gets hard really quickly, and fuck that, honestly. So I remember a lot of that and a lot of Mario 2, which I feel like Mario 2 ramps up pretty quickly for the difficulty. Pause! Exclamation point. I don't think I can exit this game until Rio dies. Should probably get back to the actual Shenmue. There we go.
Get ready.
Hit me. Yeah, you got it.
Get ready. Get ready.
Game over. Perfect. How many credits did I put in? Oh, there's my FUK. It's still there. Sorry, out of rank. That's fair.
Fantasy.
Pause. Shenmue really traps you playing. I'm glad I didn't spend all my money on Space Harrier. Not a thing I would normally say in the real world. Not if you've ever been to a place that has a Space Harrier machine with a full hydraulic cockpit, but it is a treat. That's my favorite gimmick. Sega had like a few, was like that, Hang On. Well, Hang On was like a bike you'd sit on and move it back and forth like so, but this and Outrun were both games that had a huge fucking cockpit that would just like shift you around like theme park style. And for like a quarter, that's money well spent. I'm also really easily amused and I obviously love gimmicks, but what are you gonna do? Oh man. Oh, we are just about out of time. It looks like it is about 8 here on Discrot. I'm gonna let Space Harrier Man stop harrying, and yeah, we're gonna call it a night. This has been good. Signing off. This is John S, our cameraman today. If you want to sign off as well.
John C over here,
and our mixer.
Hey, it's Matt.
All right. Tune in next time. Thanks for watching.
Hey, John, what are you drinking?
What am I drinking? Oh, very good question. This is a 7 and 7. His favorite drink. My dad's favorite drink. I never saw him order one. It was always just something before I was 21. He'd be like, when you go to bars, get a 7 and 7. It's a good drink. And I like Googled it and I was like, popular in the 70s. And it's like, that makes sense because that's when you would have been out of bars. But yeah.
Cheers, buddy.
Good. Cheers. Indeed.